You don't need to worry about her, the man chuckled to his companions in Arabic, his gold-trimmed robe catching the chandelier light. She's too dumb to understand us. The waitress froze, her hands tightening on the tray as heat rushed to her face. They thought she didn't know. They thought she was just another invisible server to mock while hiding behind another language. She placed the plate carefully on the table, her expression calm, but inside her chest a storm brewed. For years she had endured whispers, snickers, and the quiet cruelty of people who assumed she was beneath them. But tonight something inside her snapped. Her mind traveled back to childhood when her father, a linguist, had sat her down every evening with books and recordings. Language is power, he used to say, and one day, knowing more than one tongue will open doors you can't yet see. He had made her repeat phrases in Arabic, French, Spanish, until her tongue felt like clay molding to every syllable. She didn't know back then that those long nights of repetition would prepare her for this very moment. She straightened, eyes locking with the billionaire's smug grin. Then, in flawless Arabic, she replied evenly, her voice steady but sharp as glass, fluent enough to expose your insult. The table went silent. His companion's eyes widened, forks clattering to plates. The billionaire's smirk crumbled, his mouth opening but no words forming. The waitress held his gaze, refusing to shrink back, the air in the room charged with disbelief. The murmurs started from the neighboring tables. Patrons leaned in, phones discreetly lifted, recording the scene unraveling before them. Whispers in multiple languages filled the restaurant as word spread that the server had just confronted the wealthy guest in his own tongue. The billionaire tried to recover, laughing awkwardly. It was just a joke, he said in English now, suddenly abandoning the shield of Arabic. But the damage was done. His arrogance, once masked by wealth and confidence, now lay bare for everyone to see. The waitress turned, her voice carrying across the room. No, it wasn't a joke. It was disrespect. And you assumed I was too small to ever understand you. But today, your money can't protect you from truth. The manager rushed over, alarmed, but stopped short when he saw the room. Every pair of eyes was on the billionaire, not in admiration, but in judgment. The waitress, once invisible, had become the center of gravity, commanding respect not with riches, but with knowledge and dignity. For a long, heavy moment, the man sat silent. Then, with the eyes of the room still on him, he muttered something under his breath and pushed his chair back. He stood, trying to preserve some shred of dignity, but the ripple of quiet applause broke out before he could leave. It started from one corner of the restaurant, then another, until the room filled with clapping. Not for him, but for her. The billionaire froze mid-step, realizing the humiliation was complete. With a stiff nod, he walked out, his companions trailing behind him, their faces red. The waitress, heart still pounding, lowered her eyes and returned to her work. But when she stepped back into the kitchen, her co-workers swarmed her, their faces lit with pride. "You showed him," one whispered. "I've never seen anything like that." Later that night, as she walked home under the glow of the city lights, her phone buzzed non-stop. Clips of the confrontation had already gone viral. Millions watched the moment she turned arrogance into silence. The headline read, "Waitress shuts down billionaire's insult," in perfect Arabic. The next day, she returned to the restaurant, unsure what to expect. But the manager pulled her aside. His eyes were soft with something she hadn't seen before: respect. "We've had dozens of calls," he said, "people asking for you by name. Reporters want to speak to you. Customers are coming back just to see you." She was stunned. In one night, she had gone from being invisible to being a symbol. Not because she sought attention, but because she had refused to stay silent in the face of disrespect. Weeks later, she received a letter in the mail. It was from a university she had once applied to, but never attended, citing financial struggles. But now, thanks to the viral moment and a wave of public support, a scholarship fund had been set up in her honor for students pursuing languages. Her father's words echoed in her heart. Language is power. She smiled through tears. What had begun as a night of humiliation had transformed into a life-altering opportunity, not just for her, but for others who would follow in her footsteps. The billionaire, meanwhile, disappeared from headlines, his arrogance replaced by whispers of his downfall. But she rose higher than she'd ever imagined. Never underestimate anyone. Respect costs nothing, and arrogance can shatter in an instant when faced with knowledge and truth. The applause that night in the restaurant was just the beginning. The real victory was her dignity, her courage, and her father's wisdom living on through her. Before we end this story, let us know in the comments where you're watching from. We'd love to hear. If this story touched you, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let us know how you feel in the comment.